Yeah, it's all her hair. So, tell the people who you are, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Brittany.
Don't try to act normal now.
Do I need to introduce myself?
I'm gonna use all of this.
What I need to do?
Yes, what do you do?
I'm a Head Start teacher.
Okay.
I'm also a mother of 3 children, and
So I met Brittany and she was like, do you do hair? And I said, no, I don't, but I'm always looking for models. And she said,
I am ready.
she about that life.
Yes.
All natural, no relaxer, right?
No religion.
All right, the weather is, oh, that's kind of cool with the blue and blowing right there. So we are going to turn this into a nasty ball.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
nasty,
ready.
huh?
I've had hair all my life, and I'm just ready for a new change.
Boom, wave to the people, here we go.
All right, guys, got our tools ready, right? Round brush, shears, comb, our blow dryer, and definitely our pure sleek serum. Starting off from all natural hair on our model today, Brittany. Guys, we're gonna go in with a graduated bob. First things first, let's get it shampooed up and get it hydrated. She's been wearing some extensions, some weaving. It's a little bit on the dry side, guys, so we went in with a deep conditioner under the steamer for 20 minutes. Came outside of the shampoo and conditioner. The only other product that we're gonna use, guys, is the sleek serum. We want to keep the hair very light. We are gonna be cutting dry. If we were cutting wet, we would use some type of wet cutting agent, but we're going to blow the hair out completely straight first, and we're going to put the sleek serum in at the beginning. During the blowout process, for myself, especially for a bob that we want a ton of movement, a ton of bounce, a ton of body, I really like to limit the product that I place on it. If you are going to add anything to finish the bob, you may go in with a holding sprays for memory, maybe a little bit of luster, but in this instance, her hair really did a great job of smoothing out even before we went in with the iron. You can see right here that we're just blowing her straight, guys. There's tons of blowout tutorials on here to kind of, talk about the different blowout techniques. Our focus today, guys, is going to be on the silkening method, how we go in to create the graduated bob with our shears and our clippers, even a little bit of the razor. And then we're going to talk about some curling techniques that uses the round ceramic iron, which actually is more of my preference. I love the flat iron, especially our 2-inch wider flat irons to create curls, which gives tons of body as well. But we want to use the round ceramic iron to kind of show a way to really explain, is a great word that I'll pull from the great Robert Cromines, right? We don't want to just over curl the hair, but kind of explain the cut with some movement and some curling at the end. If you notice, guys, right around her back hairline, I'm creating kind of like a little L shaping. It's a way to really be sure, especially for clients right now, we're going to create a bob. So we want this to be very silked out and smooth. A lot of times we can kind of skip through and rush through the nape area and around the perimeter and grab big sections. I encourage you, if you really want to get that sleekness around the hairline, to use very fine parting around the hairline in the nape to be sure that everything is straight. And because we're going to be cutting dry, I want everything to be super stick straight, no bend, no bump. So I'm being very, very mindful to smooth out, not to over press in most instances, guys. We're just using one pass. We're all putting maybe a little bit more heat on the ends. A lot of this we're going to be cutting off, but there's a good bit of flyaways that we tried to condition and put back into place, but she hasn't had a haircut in a while, so we're trying to smooth things out. Again, going north, south. I'm using the Babyliss iron right now, guys, all the way up 450. I have that sleek serum on there as a buffer with the heat, but just going straight down north, south, taking that iron and driving it to the floor, not pulling the iron to me or curving it or bending it at all, making sure that everything is straight. You can see right here, just kind of using the blow dryer to kind of show you how light things are. Sometimes, guys, we're getting super light. Let me make this point right here, that the blue and the green is showing you the different settings on the Enzo dryer, the Enzo Epic Light. The blue setting, guys, is for that airiness, right? For that airform, for volume on fine hair. But the green setting is to sleek, thicker hair. So many people don't even really know that. So I always wanted to make notice of that. These are wonderful blow dryers, but some of us are not getting the sleekness that we desire because we have it on the wrong ionic setting, right? And some of us are not getting the volume that we desire because we have it on the sleek setting. So be mindful of that, that I do enjoy to use it full blast, but the settings make a difference. So guys, after we have completed the silk, now we're going to take our first guide in the center of her hair, right in the center. We're going to cut this entire haircut with very limited clips, using gravity and using how we hold the hair to create the shape. So we're going to go in right on her kind of shoulder blade. Right at the top is where we don't want to have her neck fully exposed. We don't want it to have any the nape area showing. We do want this to fall on her hairline. So we're using the clippers to create that round, 0 degree perimeter. There is going to be a little movement northwest, not northwest, but east-west, right? We're going to, because we want to be able to have it to be elongated around her jawline. So we're pulling that hair from behind her ear, ultimately from her jawline back to that guide in the center of her hair. So we're pulling for direction, right? But the angle is going to be a 0 degree angle because we're not trying to lift, right? We're trying to cut this in natural fall. Now we are moving. Let me make that point again. We are moving from east-west, right, to create the bob perimeter, but it's 0 lift with this cutting. That's why I like clippers, because it gives you that clean, hard line and also allows things to go by very, very quickly. So you want that sharpness, right? But you want speed also in all things that we're doing. Again, guys, you notice I'm taking the comb and driving the hair from one direction back to that center. Not only am I using that center as a guide, but I'm also using the comb to get movement, guys. This is where you can create the haircut movement, the movement inside the haircut, not just with curling. They don't have to always sling their hair around. Of course, every bob client wants to do that, but you can actually create the movement with the cut versus having them to move their hair around or to do it with the curling iron. So that's one of the techniques I want you to show, is pulling it back to that 0 degree that we created at the very back. So I'm not even focusing on the front of the hairline, just that back nape. So now I'm taking about 1 inch on it, again at 0 degrees, and I'm taking my razor the same way you would taper down, right, in the nape area or around the perimeter hairline or in the temple. I'm using 1 inch, right, on top of where the bob kind of shaping, that concave shaping that we're creating in the back. I use the razor. This is my own just personal technique. Use it if you'd like, to kind of start creating that taper that we want, right? And it will start to kind of give you the guide, right, that will begin to show you where the hair is beginning to raise up, right, on the bob, right, on this graduation of the bob. So just by hitting it with that razor, it kind of creates a new bob, a new guide about 1 inch up. You don't have to use that technique, guys, but I wanted to try to throw all of the kitchen sink at this haircut to show you different ways to create this look. Now, without clips, what I'm doing is I'm taking that middle section that had that guide at the very bottom, the 0 degree, right? But now, the razor kind of created more of a graduation or broken up guide about 1 inch up. So now I'm taking, if you notice, the hair is at 45 degrees. So I'm climbing up the hair, right, carving out small sections underneath the hair and then pulling it at 45, right, point cutting into this hair, which is going to, at 45 degrees, it's going to begin to curve the haircut up to give you that roundness, right, or that graduation. You could do this with vertical sections, but I'm using horizontal sections, right, all at a 45 degree angle. How do I keep it measured the same? Look at my finger placement underneath the hair. I'm putting the same 3 fingers behind the hair to give me the same distance from where the hair is curving, right? Where the head is curving, or where the roundness of her head is and where the hair is. And you'll also notice that I'm doing a couple different movements at one time. I'm actually taking the section at 45 degrees, point cutting for softness, and I'm swinging it back to the center because I want the hair to have 2 home homes. I want the hair to live in its natural fall that'll sit right behind her ear, but I want it also to be cut out of natural fall back to that bob, right, destination, giving the hair its own movement inside of the haircut, with or without curls. It wants to be back, right, to the center of her head, and it wants to live by her ear. And I'm going to create this type of movement, right, in the back of the haircut, in the sides of the haircut, and in the top, all the way around. This is why our haircuts, guys, can't be $25. When you put this kind of intention in a haircut, giving them that versatility inside of the haircut, these are $50, $60, $70 haircuts, guys, because they're not just one basic, form for everyone. I'm using the round and the curvature of her head to create, like I said, this movement to make it very, very customizable. So after I do that on both sides, I go up at a 45-degree point cutting into the hair, right? That whole kind of the occipital, right at the base of the apex, down to the occipital, down to the nape, that whole back kind of horseshoe section in the back. Once I get that solid, pulling both sections back to the center, all at 45 degrees, giving pretty much every hair in the back of her head two destinations or two homes. Now I'm going to carve out an inch on top, right? And just come and now connect all of the dots. Now I'm using more of a vertical, right, parting to put 45-degree angles to kind of create that shelf that we love on our bobs, right? I wanted to have a roundness closer to the nape, but I wanted to have a definite harder line, right, on sitting on top, going at a beautiful, angled, graduated, some would say 45-degree, coming from the kind of base of her occipital down to the jawline. And I'm going to have it a little bit more exaggerated on the right side. So now I'm taking vertical sections on top, pulling it down to the previous guide that was connected or that was created with that horseshoe sections with horizontal partings. Again, this is a way to kind of use gravity with our advantage without using a ton of clips. Now I'm going to, again, taking vertical sections, pulling them at the 45-degree angle, same way, connecting it to the guide that's underneath that was created with the horizontal sections, and also pulling it back to center to also give that hair two destinations as well. We want a ton of movement, not just graduation, going up from the nape up to the occipital, but we want the hair to be bouncing around as she's moving around. That's going to give her the compliments that she wants, guys. That's going to give her that who did your hair question by having this haircut to really have a mind of its own, right? So again, now just cross-checking a little bit, making sure that the vertical and the horizontal are all connected, staying focused on the back of her hair, not even thinking about the sides or the top or the apex or the fringe area, which we're going to do something a little bit different. Just making sure that there's no holidays, right? Like I didn't take any days off, and you can see that angle in the back starting to form. You can see it, right? Go back and look at it, creating at first horizontal, using horizon shaping or partings, and then coming back behind with the vertical sections, and then making sure to cross check. So now I'm going to take the side, right, kind of breaking the hair apart. Now the sides of her hair, or the left temple or the left parietal and the right parietal. But again, I'm trying to remember, I want to create that hard line at the bottom, right? This is going to have a little bit more movement. The back, we want to go right to the floor. The front, we want it to have a tad bit more movement. So it's a slight graduation that we're picking up, but primarily we're trying to just connect it to that back section, right? So we're making sure that the sides are connected to that harder perimeter line on the bob, but also we want to pull it as far back to the left side as possible, because if we can get our posture and come to the other side of the street, it's going to be as long as we can get it, in particular on this right side. So I'm standing her up, and I'm standing as far as I can to her left side and to my left side, but I want to make sure that it's still connected, right? Putting a little zero lift right here, but I'm doing both. I wanted to have the zero lift of this hard line, but I also wanted to move to the front. I hope I can get that. I hope that makes sense, because sometimes we're putting zero lift but no movement, so the hair just falls flat. to the floor. And sometimes we're putting the movement in, but we don't make zero lift. So the hair has too much graduation or too many layers at the very bottom, and your eyes don't see that hard line. So now we're going through and just cross-checking. We've got the back situated, guys. And now we're making sure that the top of her hair, again, trying to put 45-degree angles in most of the haircut. We're going to put a little 90-degree as we get a little bit higher, the top of the bob, but the primary parietal shaping around the, kind of the circumference of the head, and everything below the ear, guys, is going to be 45 degrees. Above that parietal ridge, we're going to take things up a little bit, 90, to have a little bit more movement. Does that make sense? Around the parietal and below the ear, all at 45. That's what gives you that bob, right? And then atop or above the parietal, you can put a few 90-degree angles because they're going to be laying on top, right? Accenting the bob. Now, the fringe. Now, guys, there is clear she's got some breakage. She's got some pieces that are a little shattered in the front from previous styling and extensions. We want to force the eye, force the hair to move to that right side and have a clear separation from her left shorter side and the right side that's a lot longer. Pulling it to her left side, my right, her left, and creating hard lines. But I'm pulling it so when I let it go, if you notice, guys, it's getting longer on her right. Now, you could freehand cut this, but we're trying to put the movement in every aspect of the haircut. And when we curl it, you're going to see, it's going to be bouncing around. If we just create everything and leave everything in natural fall, it'll be a beautiful haircut to look at, but the movement when she moves around is not going to be there. We've got to place the movement inside of the shaping of the haircut if we really want that outstanding movement and bounce with the hair. All right, now we had her standing up. Now we're bringing her back to the station and just cross-checking at this point, guys, just making sure that we've got all 45s pretty much around the parietal, below the ear, down to the nape. Again, when we get closer above the parietal, you'll see me kind of lift the hair more up to a 90-degree angle, but pretty much everything that's falling, right? Everything that's falling below the ear and the parietal, we want everything at a 45-degree. That's really what a bob. That's the number one angle you'll see with bob haircuts, right? And more of a layered haircut, right, is 90 degrees all over, or a blunt haircut is all 0. So you're doing a lot of 45s with short tapers, with natural tapers, with your diva cuts, and definitely with your bobs. You can really see that shape in the back kind of gradually going up, coming off on a very clear angle from the nape up to the occipital. Again, above the parietal, you'll notice now we're going 90 degrees and connecting all of the things together, connecting the right side of the haircut to the left side of the haircut, connecting the back of the haircut to the front of the haircut. This is where I just believe we should all be raising our prices. I think that this national average of $25 for a haircut is because I don't know if we're confidently placing in the variety, the variation, the different versatility in these haircuts, because I just believe with the different techniques that we're using on this one bob haircut, guys, this is talent, right? This is us taking our talents from our cosmetology schools, wherever you went to school at, wherever in the country, right? Shears is our symbol. So I definitely want us to consider to take our true talent of haircutting and raise that national average of 25, get that up to $45, $50, $60 for just your cut, guys. It's much more valuable than what we've been giving. I just hear that number often, and I want to see it a lot higher, and I hope this tutorial really gives you that inspiration. All right, so we had her outside, guys, just moving it around, just kind of showing you the bob, straight up, no curling, but I like movement. I like big hair. I live in the South, guys, so we, big old hair down below the Mason-Dixon. So we are here now. So I love these Babyliss ceramic rounds. What I'm trying to do, guys, is trying to recreate what a roller set would do. And sometimes you really have to have that skill set with the flat iron. But I find it's a lot easier to create that round shape, that curvature that we want with the body that we would create normally with a roller set or a flexi rod set with the round ceramic iron. And I just like this particular brand of iron. It really gives you great controlled heat, really smooth ceramic plating. I have them in every size, guys. You can pretty much find them at any professional store. I think you can even grab them at places like Ulta, but I keep them all on deck. They heat up very, very quickly, and you can change the sizes, right? If you want to go with a smaller size up top, in a more of a body or round 2-inch or 1-inch at the bottom, it's totally up to you, but they all have a very controlled, very smooth ceramic plating. Some of them even have titanium. And now I'm really not trying to create perfection. What I am doing though is I'm making sure that I'm waiting. Watch right here, guys. I'm going in and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It's sped up just a little bit, but I generally like to hold on in that shaping as if a roller was being set, right? So for about 5, 6, or 7 seconds, guys, after you go in to create that shape, remember, we're not trying to make a perfect roller or a perfect curling style. What we are trying to do is to put everything as if it were on rollers, because what's the hairstyle? The cut, guys, is the actual style. And because all of the movement that we placed in there, all of these curls are going to be bouncing around and kind of colliding with one another anyway. Now I'm going in with more of a horizontal kind of curling pattern. You could easily do more of the beachy tousled wave by using the very same irons to do more of a vertical curl pattern, guys, which creates again this kind of beachy, wavy body. This same style would be gorgeous with that. There's even talks with me and this model to come back pretty soon, guys, for a color tutorial, and we may style it differently with more of the vertical curling pattern. But now again, just going in, remembering that this side right here, really trying to just notice how I'm just keeping the curl, letting it cool on its own, because again, we're going to have this to be a lot more, you can already see the body coming into shape. So we're not trying to be perfect with this. You could, if you'd like, to go in with some clips and go ahead and clip it as if you were doing more of a pin curl set or a roller pinned set to let it cool with a lot even more body. But I didn't want to put too much body inside of it because it would maybe take away and create more of a curly flexi rod looking set, and I want to show off the lines that we placed in here. Can you see that? Can you see that shaping in the back, guys, kind of forming? And all we're doing now is just going right through it. Notice I'm not using a ton of clips, right? Using a little holding spray of your choice. I think I'm using fructose right here because it's very, very light. I also love the Sabella holding spray, wonderful dry holding spray that you can use, not a whole lot of alcohol. Mazzani has a great one with the HRM if they still make that, but something super, super light. You don't want anything very sticky. I wouldn't use any spritz or anything like that. You just want enough hold or memory to kind of keep sort of the shape. I don't want to over curl, but I really do love the round iron, guys. And I think if you pick those up, you notice how I'm just flying through this, no clips, but one big gorilla clip up top, going in, waiting about 5 seconds after you have it all the way secure inside of the iron. Imagine this is sped up. So about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if that was at normal speed. And you can see where it's all coming together. Remember, we had all of this pull to her left side, coming over to the right. So as we're curling it, you'll see it come down and over, creating that beautiful swoop, right? Or that beautiful full fringe that our clients love. All of the movement on the side you're going to see with the curls. Remember, pulling it back to the back of that guide in the very nape area, moving around to her jawline in the front. Remember that it's short on her left side, hitting maybe right at the jawline, coming down, extending a little bit further. So there's a level of asymmetry even with the front. We just got a lot going on with this haircut, and we're simply using the curls. Look at that, guys. Just a perfect, beautiful curl with a little bit of that holding spray. Remember, the serum that we use at the beginning is still there, coming to the surface with the heat. And that's it. It's going to fall into place when we're done. But notice I'm not really combing anything out. I want to keep everything very, very full because we're going to take her outside and create a photo shoot and a final look once we're done. And that shows you in real time how long I let that curling iron sit after we created that curl. A few more curls left and you'll really be able to see in real time about 5, no more than 7 seconds, and that puts that full memory in there to where when she goes home, she doesn't have to do a ton of curling. It will keep that shape for some days, even up to a week, before she has to put a whole lot of heat on her hair. Final look, guys, it looks undone, but we're going to use our hands, a little bit of the comb, because the shape is there. You'll see it hitting a jawline on that left side, right to your view right there, and super full on that right. And now we're coming to the final look and the photo shoot to finish. We're looking forward, guys, to seeing you recreate this look in your salons.